learners, today we are going to study about difference between DNA and RNA. The first difference is that DNA is a double-stranded molecule while RNA is a single-stranded. Double-stranded means that it has two strands like this, one strand and second strand, while in case of RNA just one strand is present. In case of DNA we have deoxyribose sugar, while in case of RNA the sugar is ribose sugar. Now what is the difference between deoxy and ribose sugar? The ribose sugar has OH or hydroxyl group at second carbon, while the deoxyribose sugar has H group at second carbon. If we talk about the nitrogenous bases, the nitrogenous bases present in DNA are adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, while in case of RNA, adenine, guanine and cytosine are the same which is present in DNA, but uracil base is different in RNA, which is thymine in case of DNA. So in RNA the uracil base is present instead of thymine base. The DNA is a stable structure. Why it is stable? Because it is double-stranded structure, so the breakdown of this double-stranded structure is a bit difficult. However, RNA is unstable structure because it is single-stranded, so it can easily be broken down. The amount of DNA is constant in all cells. However, the RNA amount, it varies from cell to cell. For example, if a cell requires more amount of protein, more RNA will be produced. And if a cell requires less amount of protein, so less RNA will be produced. So its amount is going to vary depending upon the amount of protein required by the cell. The DNA is present in nucleus, chloroplast and mitochondria, while RNA is present in nucleus, nucleolus, mitochondria, ribosomes and cytosol. The DNA is a self-replicating molecule. It means that if DNA wants to be converted from 1 to 2, it can easily convert. It means that original DNA is going to be divided into 2 DNA by the process of replication. However, in the case of RNA, it cannot self-replicate. Why? Because RNA is synthesized from the DNA only when it is needed by the process of transcription. So if RNA is not required, DNA is not going to produce the particular RNA. This is another difference between DNA and RNA. The DNA, it stores the genetic information, the information about eye color, hair color, height, intelligence and all other things. However, the RNA is going to carry the genetic message, or it is going to carry amino acids for the synthesis of protein, and it is going to help in the synthesis of protein. The genetic message is carried by messenger RNA, the amino acids are carried by transfer RNA, while the protein synthesis is taken place in the ribosomal RNA. DNA has a specific size in every species, so its size varies from species to species. However, if you are talking about one species, so all the cells will have the same or specific size of that particular DNA. However, the size of RNA is going to vary. For example, the messenger RNA, the size of messenger RNA is going to change as the length of the amino acid is going to change. Similarly, the transfer RNA, it has only about 75-90 nucleotides. On the other hand, the ribosomal RNA has other variable length. So the three RNAs have different length. Because of this, they have different size. The DNA do not have any catalytic ability. The catalytic ability means that it is not going to act on some kind of substrate and going to convert that into the product, or they are not going to act like a enzyme. On the other hand, the scientists, they have discovered that some RNA, they have the catalytic ability. It means that they are going to act on the substrate and then they will convert that substrate into the products. There are 3 types of DNA: aDNA, bDNA and zDNA. Here you can see this is aDNA, This is bDNA and this is zDNA. zDNA means that it is zigzag in shape. While on the other hand, there are three types of RNAs: messenger RNA, transfer RNA, and ribosomal RNA. So that was all about the difference between DNA and RNA. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video.